you doing?
Well, there's always the final exam worry, especially when the other school doesn't have them until next week. You know, you always kind of worry about how your guys. Cohen had to leave a little early. Devine got here late. You know, it's the thing you got to do. You change practice times up. I mean, it's nothing historic, but it's also just gives you something else to worry about. Then we got a team who I think is very well coached. They were playing pretty well. They went down to Indiana. I don't think God would have beat Indiana that night because the guy hit so many threes that it was unbelievable. It wasn't bad D, it was unbelievable offense. And so they're coming off that. I'm sure it'll be 4th of July and Christmas. Or they might introduce the football coach, all that stuff. So, you know, we have concerns like we always do, but they get a little more just because of the circumstances we're dealt with. In saying that, we've had a couple of really good practices. Even though I think the guys are kind of tired, so hopefully they'll get a good night's rest. Cohen's still got a 7:30 one tomorrow morning, and we're practicing and heading out. So, questions?
What you talk about that atmosphere there. Sometimes it can be a sleepy place, but you get a certain Saturday and you get a football coach and the students are still there, and it changes the dynamic a little bit.
Right, which shouldn't bother us because we're used to playing in front of big crowds, even on the road. But it might up them, you know. And plus, Mike's a hell of a coach. I mean, he does a lot of different things. He runs good things offensively. He's a very good defensive coach. We think we're going to get pressed some, zone some, all those things. So we just got to be ready for everything, and hopefully we're over our little hangover and losing that game at home.
In the world of the transfer portal, he seems to be trying to build it with youth that he maybe hopes he can hang on to, and they're a lot younger than some of the teams we're facing.
Which I think is another advantage for them in this situation. If an older team got beat that bad, then I think you start getting down. You know, a younger team, when you're younger, you forget quicker. You know, you respond faster. And he's got a hell of a point guard. I think I could play a lot of places. DeLeon was at Tennessee, and yet he's been there now 2 years. He has gone the route of trying to get some really good freshmen. He's got some. And I promise you, we'll have our work cut out.
With Cam, is his wrist doing a little bit better?
Yeah, a lot better. This was, I mean, he's going to have that on for a while, but it's a lot better right now. They got a different brace. He's got a couple games under his belt. Today was his best practice. We felt starting to shoot the ball a little better, getting used to it. Still, the biggest problem is when it goes way back, but if he can keep it here, he can get his hand through it. So now it's about getting him back in shape for the time he missed and everything. But yeah, I think, and that Cam was playing as good as anybody there for those 3-4 games. So we need Cam. We need him a lot.
You talk about every season. You talk about this year, this time of year where you can slow down a little bit and get into practice. Obviously, this is the biggest gap you guys have had in the regular season. Is it fair to say that it takes guys? There's a process to sort of appreciate the value you can get out of practice instead of looking at it as sort of a necessary evil. Like, is that something that guys have to grow into, learning how to use the most out of that time?
I think so. You know, this is my favorite. This is why I like the NCAA the best. There's no rules. Not that I think there's many in any other stuff, but as far as practice time, there are rules, and now there's no rules. We're on break, you know, and so we're going to get some practices in because we need to. Over the years, we've done our best job. Now we've changed a little bit, and because the second half of the season is so tough, a couple of years ago we started trying to get that last game before Christmas on the 20th so they get a little break instead on the 22nd like we used to play it on. And I think that'll help them. Parents will be happier. I'll probably still be miserable because I don't get to practice. But I mean, I think, you know, we got to get some time in this week. We got to get some time in right away when we get back.
In terms of players recognizing that value, though, is that something that can take a little time? Or
yeah.
Guy to guy, I guess?
I think the upperclassmen will, but that is something they're not going to be used to. You know, we're going back to two-a-days, so we'll see how they enjoy that.
Do you see with Jordan, I noticed some players like kind of hype him up and things after he makes a shot, yelling, hooting and hollering. Do you see people trying to maybe get him a little more, not to say like cocky, but with a little more swagger? Because he's a very low-key kind of guy.
He is a very low-key guy, and yet he works. Him and I got two guys that are in here morning and night, him and Kohler. So it's not from lack of work, Kurt, too, but he just needs to get some confidence in that shot. It's a pretty shot. It's a good-looking shot. Once in a while it gets a little flat, but he plays so hard. Yeah, maybe a little cockiness would be good for him. I'll have to think about that.
When you look at Divine and maybe playing him around at the 2, is that something that you saw when you brought him in, or is that more something that sort of developed as you've had him?
Both, we're just, I mean, I made no secrets about we got some, we're trying to find the right thing. We're giving everybody a little bit of a chance. We might give him a chance this weekend. He's going to get a chance one way or another, whether he starts or not. And so, I've talked to all the other guys, but everybody knows what's going on right now. So no quarterback controversy, no secrets.
I just didn't know if that was a skill set you saw necessarily with him coming in.
Yeah, well, he can
sort
shoot
of
it,
learned it as he
and
got
sometimes
it.
it's good to have 2 ball handlers out there, and help Jeremy a little bit. Jeremy is shooting the ball really a lot better. I mean, don't look at the 0 for 10. He's shooting the ball really well. He shot it really well today, but nobody ever gets him a shot. He's got to get all his off the dribble, so that could help that a little bit.
Kind of similar look to what you had last year when you had both Trey and Jeremy on the floor at the same time.
Yeah.
Just as having that
It could. Some. I mean, we're not going to have a steady diet of anything, but we're going to try to find out who's better off the bench, who's better in, how do we get our rotation down. I told you it would take till the middle of December, and now we're getting near the middle of December, and that's what we'll start doing.
How do you feel that they've reacted coming off a loss? Do you think they reset the hunger a little bit, or what, any?
That's hard to evaluate. If I was to be very honest with you, I want to say, yeah, they're mad, and I want to say all that because that's what you want to hear, I want to hear, the fans want to hear. But when you come off a loss like that, the next day you're with tutors all day because you have finals. It's just a different time of year. But I do think we practiced like we realized we were able to have one film session on that game. And I mean, Duke played pretty good. They did some good things, but all of us, needed to do a better job, and I think we could have won the game. And so that part of it, I think they got a chance to understand.
This is admittedly not a basketball question, but last year the radio show, I noticed you played the accordion. Where did that come from? When did you first start playing?
I think I was 13, 12. Maybe 11. I think I was in 5th or 6th grade. My mother played the piano and the organ, and so I just wanted me to take lessons. So I took lessons for about a month, and they thought it'd be nice to buy me a nice accordion. So I think they did it for Christmas, or maybe it was earlier. And I've never had a real injury, but I broke this finger, dislocated this thumb, broke this finger in football, all within a year. And so I never played the accordion again because I always had something wrong with this hand. And then when Mariucci and I were GAs, I picked it up again 10 years later. And we were supposed to have a date to go to the Christmas party, and he was my date or I was his. They were supposed to bring something to eat. Neither one of us could cook, so hot dogs would have been the only thing we would have brought, boiled them. So I said, Mariucci, I'll play the accordion, we'll be the music, and you sit on my shoulder with a tin can and ask for donations and sing. So that's what we did.
Is that the same accordion that you got
It is.
back then? Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So I've had it retuned a couple times, but I've had that. I'm trying to get Nick to play a little bit because Nick is an incredible pianist, and he can play without music. So maybe him and I will start a new profession.
Trey Fort and his dad are about to give back. What's that say about his character? And
You know what? That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I got to take off in a little bit to go to Detroit, but I'm hoping some of our players go over. He's done it before, and I'm really impressed by that. It was something that, a lot of times we encourage kids to do something. He encouraged us. And I thought that was pretty awesome, and I'm really excited for Trey. I hope people are. And I think with all the crazy things there are in athletics, sometimes there's some really good things. That's a really good thing.
Jordan Scott with his hustle plays, gives Duke just more of the same with him, just keeps building off that.
Yeah, but he's got to make shots. I mean, there's no question. Sooner or later, one of those 4 guys, 2 of the 4 guys, 3 of the 4 guys, or all 4 of them. And I do think it's going to come. And when it does, I think we elevate our game and our team. So, but I am. His sense of urgency on the court, I bet you can see it from the stands. He's going to be a special player here. I really believe that. He'll get some confidence in that shot, and he does. The rest of his game is getting better. goes to the offensive boards hard, he rebounds hard. He's so much better defensively than we thought he'd be. So, yeah, I as far as my final exam, he gets a 4-point in it. Except he's got to shoot a little better, and he will.
When you get the full week to kind of self-scout, I'm just curious, is there anything that sticks out when you get the full week to do?
Well, we had a full week, I guess, to work. I mean, I went recruiting Sunday, and but I have gotten a lot of time to watch a lot of film, and you know, we just some little things, all the little things I talked about, free throw cutouts, this and that, you know. Those are little itty-bitty things that make a difference. You know, in football, they always say it's a game of inches. And, you know, I think basketball is a game of little things. And so, yeah, I self-evaluated and looked in the mirror, and I'm going to do a better job on a couple things, and I think I'm going to make sure they do a better job on a couple things. And that's what we work for.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tom.
All right, guys.